everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to another Clear Your Shit readathon vlog. Today is Saturday, November 8th, and we have gotten some new prompts dropped. I am still in the middle of the third book that I needed to read for week 1, which is technically prompt 2, to read a children's or middle grade book, or you could actually read a book that had a child in it. I did have a book that could have fit for that I also read, but I'm trying to, at least for right now, read one book per prompt. You can combine them if you really want to. I might in the future, we'll see. But I'm reading Rapunzel and the Sea Witch, or The Little Mermaid and the Tower by Kim Bussing. This is an arc that I need to read by Tuesday, and I'm like 10% into it. I didn't read any more after I talked to you guys at the last time, like the last vlog. I definitely need to read more, but we literally woke up this morning and my husband wanted to go see a waterfall and go to the Asian market. So we did. We went to the Snoqualmie waterfall area. It was very pretty. It was like huge compared to some of the waterfalls that we've seen. Like, it was just really beautiful. And then because we had driven that far out to go over there, we drove to the T&T supermarket, which is a little too far for like our everyday Asian market needs, and a little bit crazy. Like, it's very busy in there, but it was fun to go knowing that we don't always get to. So what I had actually done earlier was I looked up what the next prompt was, and I preemptively, before this vlog started, because we woke up this morning and like almost immediately went out to go do stuff, I picked a book for that prompt and got an audiobook. I usually only listen to audiobooks in the car when I drive. Something about the way that our stereo system is, I can hear it better in the driver's seat than the passenger seat. And so I drove on the way back home from the supermarket, so I listened to about an hour and 15 minutes worth of my audiobook, which, let's get into the prompt and I'll tell you what I picked. Okay, so we have our story bit first. For prompt number 4, it says, the librarian begins to take the peasants on a tour of the library. She continually side-eyes Hawthorne as though she can determine what the child's motives were by bringing these people here. The library didn't kick you all out or bar your entry, so I suppose you are wanted here. To some extent, but please be aware, if you do not follow the rules that I may give you for the library, you will be terminated from the building. We all take a slight pause at the use of the word terminated. I will not be reviving all of you from the dead again, so please just do what this woman asks for now. So our first prompt for this week, so prompt number 4 total, is read a book where someone goes on a journey. It took me a little while to like fully decide what I wanted to read, especially because I wanted an audiobook, and when I'm listening in the car with like my kids and stuff there, I usually try to pick things that aren't a romance, sometimes that aren't even adult titles, just because I don't want too many questionable things being said out loud. And that includes a little bit too much violence and stuff as well. I try not to do more than like middle grade horror if I'm gonna go that vein. I do listen to like a lot of like YA, but again, it would be not the super scary ones. But I actually did pick an adult title because I love the first book so much. It's been over a year since I read it, and I figured I need to continue. I picked A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is the second book in the Wayfarer series. I absolutely loved The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I actually read it like January of 2024. It's been almost 2 years now, and I gave it 5 stars. Like, I absolutely loved that. And this one, I saw it when I was like looking for books where the characters and stuff go on a journey. This did pop up. I will say so far I'm like 22% of the way in, because again, I listened to it for about an hour and 15 minutes on our drive home. It feels smaller scale than the previous one, which is very much a journey from like point A to point B and things like that. And that one is a lot of very character focused, but while they're on this ship going on a journey, this isn't. But we are getting a lot of backstory and stuff for some of the characters here, and these characters were mostly side characters that we met like once or twice in the first book, and the characters, they are going on a journey. It's not like the journey's the biggest part of the story necessarily, so I'm definitely counting this. I am loving it so far. I love the fact that it does feel a little bit smaller scale, and we're really getting into some of the characters that we have here. I am curious because this is the second in a series and I loved the characters from book 1 so much too. If maybe we'll get to see them in this book, or if maybe by book 3 they all sort of come together again, because I would love to see that. But like, I can't complain if we don't necessarily get there either, or get there quick or anything, because actually I'm just like really enjoying this so far. But that means I am listening to it on audio. I think because I listen on 2 times speed, my Bookly app is saying I have like 4 hours and something left in the audiobook. 4 hours and 20 minutes. So this is something that I probably will put off to the side for now, so I can make sure that I finish the Rapunzel book before it comes out. It comes out on Tuesday. And so like that one is gonna be my priority, but I'm very happy with what I picked for this one. Now, there are 2 other prompts for this week. And I said before that I think I'm gonna tell you them in order. And then I changed my mind and said I think I might tell them all at the same time at the beginning of the week. But I think with the books that I've chosen so far, I'm gonna stick with the first thing that I said, which is telling them to you one at a time for now and picking the books, because I just think that'd be intriguing and fun. But also, if it doesn't work out again, I will then switch to telling you guys everything at once. But so, that's our plan for right now. We are home. We, you know, had a lot of fun. Very pretty. But so now I have a couple books that I'm in the middle of that I need to read. So I will come back and talk to you guys more once I have an update. Hello everyone. It is the next day. I did do a little bit of reading yesterday, but haven't really gotten into any more than what I've told you before. I was reading a little bit more of Rapunzel and the Sea Witch, and we've officially gone to like where Rapunzel and the Little Mermaid switch. It is a different sort of reason than the first 2 books, which were also slightly different from each other, which I do appreciate, because now we're getting into like what that actually means for them, and we'll see. But basically Rapunzel has officially met the Sea Witch, the Little Mermaid is stuck in the tower, and it's intriguing because like who knows what's gonna happen. But in the meantime, I'm trying to edit my ClearUrSht video from last week, and I'm having this like really weird thing where the videos that I filmed on my camera load in perfectly fine. Let me turn you guys around. Load in perfectly fine here in HitFilm Express, which is the software I have been using for forever. But all the stuff that I filmed on my phone, because it was a vlog, are so desaturated and like blown out almost. But like when I have my stuff here on my computer from my phone, this is the stuff that came off my phone, it looks fine. The saturation and everything is perfectly fine. But if I go into the clip that has been downloaded, like look at the difference. It is just like so much worse. Like I don't know how to fix it. I was Googling. I don't know why downloading the different stuff changed it. So like everything that comes off this camera that I'm filming on right now is perfectly fine. I've used video clips off my phone before and they've also been perfectly fine. But like it's weird because when I've downloaded them to the computer files are also perfectly fine. Like the saturation is so much better, perfectly fine. But then as soon as I take this video and import it, like look at that, look at the difference. So now I'm having to deal with color correcting in my editing that I have never had to do before. I've never had to actually change the color in here, and I don't know why it's happening. If anybody can tell me, please help me out, because I do a lot of vlogging while I'm out and about on my phone, because it's not as crazy to have my phone out and use it as a camera. That's like an extra thing I'd have to keep track of. But the quality, the video, the color is different. And it's fine on the phone, it's fine on iCloud on the website, it's fine when I download it to the computer, but as soon as I try to import it into my video editing software, it's not fine. But the camera is fine. So I'll try and film more on the camera as much as possible, I guess. But like, I don't know why it's happening, and it is annoying me to no end because now I have to literally color correct every single video that I took off of my phone. Oh, and the pictures from my phone aren't like that. The color from the pictures is fine. I only have a couple of those. But the video is wrong, the picture is fine. I don't get it. Okay, I need to go back to editing. I will read more as well and let you guys know, but like, okay, so I finished editing my first week's vlog, and now I'm trying to export it out of the video editing software so that I can eventually get it ready for YouTube, and it is exporting so freaking slowly. It does this sometimes depending on how many things I put in. So like, if I put in like superimposed images of books, or I have music, or what I think it's doing here where I have the color correction for a ton of clips on here, it slows down how quickly it can export. So this video is like 44 minutes long, which is not the longest I've ever done, obviously, especially like with vlogs and like going out and doing stuff. But usually with this editing software, with this new computer that I, got within the last couple years, it'll export quicker than how much video footage I have. So like the fact that it's a 44-minute video, it actually should be exporting, hi Presley, quicker than 44 minutes. But it is estimating it to take over 2 hours. Like, it is just being so slow right now because of that. So I'm officially done editing. What I'll end up doing probably now is going back to Rapunzel and the Sea Witch, because that was prompt number 2. I know I do still technically have a Closed and Common Orbit as well, but that is on audiobook, and so I think I'm gonna save that for like when I go on errands and do laundry and stuff. We'll read that soon. They're being loud. But I am about 100 pages in now to Rapunzel and the Sea Witch, about 32% in, so about 1/3 of the way almost. And according to my Bookly app, it should take me like an hour and 40 minutes to read this. So I think I'm gonna try reading this and seeing if I can finish it. I mean, we're gonna have dinner and stuff eventually. The kids are here, which will interrupt reading time sometimes, but I can't really do anything else with the vlog yet until it's done exporting. So I guess it means it's time to read. My kids have taken over my library, and there's just stuffed animals and toy buckets everywhere right now. But it is the very next day. It is Monday. Presley's at school, and I wanted to let you know I finished Rapunzel and the Sea Witch, or The Little Mermaid in the Tower, last night. I'm very excited about that fact. The last bit of the book felt like it went by super quickly, and I think part of it is just that was like the first time I was reading it without kids around me, and I was able to actually concentrate on it. But so I think I'm going to give it a full 5 stars. I did debate a little bit just because like it is a little bit different, like I mentioned before, than the first book, which I absolutely loved, 5 out of 5 stars. But I really liked the characters and how everything sort of comes together. So like we have those 4 main characters, the Little Mermaid and Rapunzel, and the 2 boys. One is a prince, one is like Jack and the Beanstalk, Jack. And they come together, and then we have like these really good friendships, and there's a little bit of pieces of all the different stories. So like the prince is a little bit more of like the Prince Eric sort of situation. He doesn't really have his own story that way, but we do get a little bit of like the Jack and the Beanstalk stuff. We get some stuff from Rapunzel and the Little Mermaid, and the way that this book did it was mesh them all together, and I just really liked the way that it ended. So yeah, I think this one was really, really good. So far, this is the last one in this series that has like a date. All 3 books in this series have come out this year in 2025, but there was like a little hint of maybe Neverland. I'm assuming maybe we're gonna get more in this series, and maybe we're gonna go to Neverland next, because they mentioned it a couple times, but then at the very, very end, they talk about a hook. Like, this is not really a spoiler or anything, they just mention it. Like, it's a very, very small mention, but it made me think Maybe we're gonna get another book eventually, maybe next year, maybe a year after, who knows, because they released all 3 of them very, very quickly. But maybe we're gonna go to Neverland. Maybe it will be Captain Hook or Peter Pan related. I think that would be very intriguing. So yes, officially done with that one. Technically that was a prompt from last week, but I'm glad we did it. That was actually prompt 2 in case you somehow missed last week's video. We had to read a book that was a children's or middle grade book. This is middle grade, or a book with a child in it, which I have done, but like, I wanted to do this. So now, as we mentioned earlier, I am also reading the first prompt for this week, which is a book featuring a journey. Currently reading A Closed and Common Orbit. I listened to the audiobook on the way to the grocery store and the way back today, which is only 15 minutes, but I think that's the next thing I'm gonna be doing, actually, is like focusing on that. I am currently listening to it on audio, so I have my headphones. Maybe I'll do some chores, actually, but I'm gonna be doing that next. We're gonna listen to a little bit more of that one and see how far we can get into it. Yeah. Doing your off-brand Legos? Yeah. What are you making?
A sandwich.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it will be awesome when it's done.
And then Elliot has her duckies that she bought. Oh, are you making a rainbow?
No, we're making an order.
Oh, you're putting them in order. Very nice.
Awesome.
An army of duckies.
An army of duckies.
Yeah, an army of duckies. She has a lot of duckies. That was a 50 pack. Hello everyone. I just filmed a video that I will have to edit as well. Today is Wednesday, but because we were off yesterday, it feels like a Monday. My schedule is all messed up, but I did read some more of this yesterday. I am now over halfway through. I'm hoping to listen to more of this in a little while once I'm done with stuff, maybe do some laundry or something, but I am absolutely loving this. Like, I'm a little bit more than halfway through. I think I just got to part 2. I don't know exactly how far into this book part 2 would be, but it literally just told me part 2 like when I finished last night. It was like 11 o'clock and I was like, I guess I need to like be done for now. Here we go. Part 2. According to my book, I'm on page like 183, a little over halfway. This is gonna be a 5-star read unless something goes crazy wrong, because I absolutely loved The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. That was the first book in this series. This is the second, and I think I mentioned before, we are following sort of like side characters from the first book. One of the main characters that we are following is Pepper, who is a side character that helps them out in the first book for a little bit, and we're like getting her backstory. Like, even in this book, we're going back and forth between like 2 major parts. We have like a present day timeline, which I think I saw somewhere, I think it was actually the beginning of the story. It mentions that the very beginning of this book, the current timeline of it, begins during the final events of The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. So this is set in the same universe, obviously. It has a little bit of overlap, apparently. I don't know exactly how much because we haven't really gotten into like characters from the first book, which is fine. I would love to see them, but it's okay. But we have like a present day timeline, and Pepper is still sort of a side character in the present day timeline, but then we also get her past, and I'm absolutely loving those parts. I don't always love dual timeline books, but like I do really love it. And then the present day timeline, we're actually following a character named Sidra, who I'm not going to get into too much because if you haven't read the first book, it is a little bit of a spoiler on like who and where things come into here. Like I'm really loving her journey as well. I love the fact that this universe is very queer normative. We have lots of different alien species. Their genders and sexualities and things don't work the same as ours. Like, I just love that we have this like whole big universe. And like, you can tell that Becky Chambers obviously has lots of notes on what that all means, because there is so much going on. But at the same time, these stories, and including book one, are very character focused. And so they're very sort of almost slow moving and calming in a way because of that. So there's this big wide scope, but you're really focusing on, for this book, Sidra and Pepper. And I absolutely love that fact. I'm about halfway through, like I said. I'm now on part 2. I don't know how many parts there are in here, like if we're gonna get another one, or if it's just like I finished the first part and now we have a second part, but I need to read more. I'm very excited to read more. I need to edit first, like I said, but it's so, so good. Walking the kids to school. My hair is looking crazy under here because it is raining a little bit. At least they're nice and warm and dry, huh? You in there? Nice and dry? Yeah. Playing with the ducks that Elliot got at Five Below. So I was planning on filming today, which is why my hair was washed and down, but it's so rainy outside and my hood did not stay out of my face very well. It is now just all wet. It might be a little bit too crazy. We'll see. Which means I might read as well. I finished my book last night, so I will come back and talk to you guys. Well, this is what the hair ended up like. I do think I'm not going to actually film. I think we're going to read instead. But, like I mentioned before, I did finish my book last night. 5 out of 5 stars. It made me very emotional. And again, it's very sort of slow moving, very character focused. We are definitely just in the same world as the first book, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. And I feel like I kept waiting to see if we were gonna get back to some of those other characters because it's a series, whereas it now feels like maybe it's more interconnected standalone type of things. And it's okay. I'm okay with that. I do also have book 3 and 4 that I wanna get to eventually, but I'm now tempering my expectations a little bit. But like, me thinking that we were maybe gonna get to those characters did not hamper my enjoyment of this at all. Like, I really, really loved it. Got emotional. It was just like so, so good. I absolutely love the writing style and the way that we really focus on characters and the world building and all of this. Like, this is my cup of tea right here. And I don't even drink tea. Cup of coffee. I absolutely love this one. And I'm so glad that I did get these Illumicrate editions when they came out a couple years ago. I don't know. Never read the series, but they're gorgeous. I loved it so, so much. So now let's get into the next prompt for this week, because that technically was just the first prompt this week because I had to finish last week's book. So let's get into, this is gonna be prompt number 5. We're gonna start with the story part, obviously. It says, the peasants arrive at what seems to be the center of the large building. There are tables here and the librarian motions for all of you to sit. To avoid being terminated, you all agree to this. The librarian stands before all of us and gestures at our group. Well, what is it that brings you here? How did you find us? Being your benevolent leader, I explain our journey here. Hawthorne fidgets nervously. They haven't said a word since the librarian appeared, which feels so different from their previous behavior. The librarian looks at Hawthorne after our story and asks with a sigh, so you think you've been asked by the library to bring these people here? Do you think these people can even begin to respect books enough to be here? To that, Ariadne scoffs, which causes the librarian to glare. Okay, so we need to read a book that the title starts with the letter T. So this is one of those prompts that I have been thinking about because I knew what the prompt was, and I was really wanting to read another like novel off my TBR. I was really considering if I wanted to read a romance or anything, because I do have like The Truth According to Ember and things like that. But since it's already Thursday, tomorrow is the last day for this week. We get all of our new prompts on Saturday. So what I think I have decided, Tokyo Tarareba Girls by Akiko Higashimura. So this number 5 would actually be the next volume I need to read. This is a manga series about these 3 women who are gonna be, I think, turning 30, and don't feel like they have a lot going for their lives, and it does get sort of messy. They're trying to figure out relationships and work and things like that. And so I gave the first 2 books in the series 4 stars, and I gave the second 2 volumes 5 stars, and I absolutely loved where it was going, even though it was messy and it has some content in here that I wouldn't normally enjoy. Like one of the characters ends up in a relationship with a married man, and I do need to know where that's going to go. So I think I'm going to go with this one. And then prompt number 6, we're just going to pull this up here as well. Before the librarian can throttle our own little library witch, the chalkboard behind the librarian begins to have letters appear on it. You all can hear the letters being written, but there is no chalk you can see being used. The board begins to write out a message addressing you all. Readers and narrator, and of course Ariadne, I have brought you all here to help me. I am the library, but I have been run by such rules and tradition for so long that my halls have grown cold and my tasks have become predictable. Hawthorne was the first of my unpredictable missions. I brought them here, and they are the one who will be able to assist you. Unfortunately, certain entities have thought themselves above the system that allows me to exist and attempted to move in secret without my knowing. And I do know, librarian. The librarian is seething, and you are not sure what will come next. Free space. So what that means is our 6th prompt, the 6th book, or you can combine prompts if you want to. The next thing that we would need to read is a free space. We can pick whatever we want. So what I do think I'm going to be attempting to do is reading more of Tokyo Tarareba Girls. I'm going to start with volume 5, obviously, but I actually have the whole series. I bought these this year, volume 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and I'm going to be attempting to read as many of these as I can today and tomorrow, so that I'm actually getting through quite a bit of my TBR, comparatively if I was just reading novels. But also, I do not want to be still on a book at the end of this week on Friday, going into Saturday and having to do what I did this time, where I need to like continue reading and finish it up. I want to start fresh next week, so it's time to read some manga. So I'm getting ready to film for the day because it's Friday and I need to do that. I will also update you on reading and things like that, but I recently posted a video about why the Goodreads Choice Awards sort of sucks this year and how I've been annoyed at them for a few years now because they keep taking categories away and other things like that. And, you know, if you want to see the video, I'll link it down below. But like, you know, things were making me mad about it. And I don't get very many hate comments or anything on this channel. So like, I got a comment that I guess is not necessarily a hate comment, like it's actually not hurting my feelings or anything like that, but I don't know how to respond. Mostly because I see how other people respond to people that are being a little bit negative or just like leaving stupid comments and things like that, and I absolutely love when people respond to them and sort of put them in their place, because like, why are you being an idiot? But at the same time, I don't know how to respond to that. Like, I've only had a couple times where certain videos actually get me negative comments or things that should never be said out loud. Like, if you were talking to a person in real life, you would not say this to them because it'd be like an idiotic thing to do. You don't talk to people like that. So like, the fact that you get them on the internet sometimes sort of baffles me, but like, I know it's an inevitability. I was always that person in school that was like, I had to be perfect. I was always on task. I was never doing anything wrong because I had anxiety around perfectionism and getting in trouble. And so I know it's a me thing, but like, I don't know how to respond to them. And again, like I said, it's not even necessarily like a super negative comment. It's basically just, I'll read it to you because like it's really not that bad. But basically I was, you know, I had a little book talk rant video about the Goodreads Choice Awards and how things are changing, and like in a bad way, things that they've changed, things that they're doing this year, the fact that certain authors have, you know, like multiple books per category and there's not enough like POC authors or LGBTQ books, things like that, things that like people should be allowed to complain about. Somebody commented with, why is it such a big deal? Just vote or don't. Like, again, not even necessarily that negative, but at the same time, I just want to be like, why are you commenting on my video? Just watch it or don't. Like, I mean, like, it's just like one of those things where I'm like, I just feel like it's a stupid comment. Like, it's not even necessarily a hate comment or anything like that, but because it's not positive, I don't know what I personally should do. In my head, I'm having all these conversations of like calling them out or actually explaining why I think it's stupid that they made this comment, or why people, especially since it's not just me, it's a ton of people that for years have been complaining about certain things about the Goodreads Choice Awards. But I don't know. Again, I will eventually comment. I literally posted a video yesterday and I have a few comments now. I have not been able to comment back to anybody. Like, I'm gonna go through my comments after I'm done filming and stuff. Like, I got a comment that's not necessarily positive, but at the same time, like, it's not super negative. It's not something that like is like hate speech. I don't need to like delete the comment. It can stay there, whatever. But I just don't know. Should I respond? Should I not respond? I usually respond to everybody, but like, I don't know how to do that exactly. I know this is like, it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but I just find it interesting because I don't get them very often. And then I love how other people respond, either with like extra kindness that these people don't deserve, or with the actually calling them out on their behavior. But at the same time, I don't know how to handle those things myself. Just an interesting tidbit, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna film. I did read 2 of my 5 volumes of the manga that I have. I'm hoping to finish them all today and then come back to you with my full thoughts, because that's actually the end of the series. I am liking them so far, just so you guys know. But I'm gonna like come and talk about those later. Oh, she does.
It's like you said roll.
Yeah, I'm already on the floor.
You didn't say somersault.
Well, and that's the thing, we do call them somersaults at home, so sometimes. Okay, so it's actually the next morning and we're just going to talk about what I read yesterday so we can finish out this vlog. I did finish Tokyo Tarareba Girls by Akiko Higashimura. So I read the first 2 volumes, I'm pretty sure, on Thursday, and I finished up the last 3 on Friday. So we're gonna talk about these. I gave volume 5 4.5 stars. I mentioned before that volumes 1 and 2 were 4 stars and volume 3 and 4 were 5 stars. I think this was 4.5 mostly because I was getting back into this story. Volume 6 I did give 5 stars, and then volume 7 I gave 4.5, volume 8 I gave 4.5, and volume 9 I gave 4. So like overall, I really like this series. It is very, very messy. I'm not gonna give like spoilers for anything really, but we do follow these 3 women main characters. They are all actually 33 and want to like sort of figure out their lives and find husbands and things by the Tokyo Olympics in 2020. So this is obviously set before that. Everything is very messy here. I mentioned before that like one of our characters is sort of in a relationship with a married man. Another woman is also with a guy who is sort of cheating on his model girlfriend. It's somebody that she used to know in the past. Like everything is just like very, very messy. And normally it's something that I wouldn't 100% enjoy, but I really like the women and them as characters and their friendships. Like they're very focused on trying to figure out their lives and like what the next step is. They feel like they're very old at 33, which is sort of funny because I'm reading this at 35, and so maybe I'm just at the perfect age for this series as well. Like I don't know if I would like it as much as if I was in my like 20s maybe, but just keep those kind of things in mind. So there's a lot of like infidelity and cheating storylines. We also have some medical things that come up near the end of the story that is more in the past, but it's just to keep in mind, as well as a relationship between a minor and an adult that is not delved into, but is still enough that I'm uncomfortable with it in a way, which is why some of the books did not get a full 5 stars, even though I was liking a lot of the other things that were happening. One thing about this series that I've noticed, especially when I was reading these ones, is we get a lot of the story, but there is space in the back that are basically like write-in problems. Like it's almost like an advice column where some of the side characters, and they're not even like side characters, they're like hallucinations of one of our characters. They're like anthropomorphized food, gives advice. And I really didn't care for those parts because it wasn't furthering the story in any way. And so I think that's part of the reason also I gave book 9, which is the final volume in this series, although there is a spin-off series of this, 4 stars instead of a higher rating, because it felt like we didn't have much story. Like the actual storyline, the actual wrap up of everything that happened, didn't take the whole volume, and then we still had the advice column in the back, and that's not what I was here for. So I really did enjoy this. There are some very tough topics, potentially problematic topics in here, but there are still things that I really, really enjoyed in this. So I finished 5 volumes of manga as well, even though this is counting for 2 prompts, both the one where a book starts with the letter T, as well as my free space, because I do want to just start my next vlog fresh. So that's going to be it for me today. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So I will see you in my next one. Bye!